Hello everybody. Uh, this is the Bluegrass Spinner podcast. As you can tell from the name, I am coming from the Bluegrass state of Kentucky. And I want to welcome back any previous viewers. Thank you for sticking with me through my second episode, and welcome any new viewers. I first want to say I am so sorry about all the mistakes that I made in the first podcast. I'm really going to try to work on, especially that ending. That was going on and on and on forever, and it was I need to work on that. So hopefully this podcast will go better in that sense. I'm sure you all can see. Well, first let me introduce myself. That would probably be good. But my name is Christy. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube as Crow Knit Girl. And you will find this podcast under YouTube as Crow Knit Girl as well. And we do have a Ravelry group. I would love for you to join at Bluegrass Spinner Podcast. So if you just type that into the group search, you'll find us. And we've gotten some joins in there, and I have to say I was absolutely thrilled to see that people were interested in my podcast. It really made me so excited and happy, and it made me really excited to get started on this next podcast. And I have lots of great things to show you guys today. I have lots of finished things, as well as some new things that I'm starting to work on. As I said in the first podcast, as I finish items, I'll be pulling out new ones. So that's going really well, and my hope of wanting to show you guys finished items is working. I really cranked it away for the first week anyway. It has been 2 weeks since I last podcast, and the first week I was knitting and spinning like crazy and crocheting, and this second week, this past week, I've pretty much just been laying in bed. I haven't been feeling too well. So if I cough or something in this podcast, I'm so sorry. I'm just getting over a horrible cold and flu, and so I may also be drinking some water during this. I'm sorry, you all. I know some people it really annoys, but I will never get through this podcast if I don't. And also and I really wanted to be able to podcast and keep on my podcast schedule to my best ability, especially for my second one. I don't want to say, on my first podcast, okay, I'm gonna podcast every 2 weeks, and then my second podcast isn't for 3 weeks, or worse, 4 weeks. I don't want to do that. I don't want to start off on a bad note like that. So that's why I'm podcasting this week. Otherwise, I would be waiting. So please bear with me, you all. Okay, I got to introduce this girl. As you can see, I'm sure you can see a little head poking up sometimes. We do have a new addition to our family. A few weeks ago, or probably about a month ago now, our cat that we had for 12, 14 years, something like that, we had her since she was just 4 weeks old. She sadly passed away, and we were, contemplating getting another pet, and my husband, he saw this dog, and just, he fell in love immediately. So we have Honey, you guys. She's normally not this wild and crazy, but she's a really sweet girl. She was already named Honey, and we thought that's an okay name, so we decided to keep it. She's a Heinz 57. She had 2 other litter mates with her. We got her from the Humane Society, and they had them all listed as different breeds. They had one listed as a pit mix, another as a lab mix, and another as a border collie mix. So she's a true Heinz 57. I don't think they know what she is. I can't tell what she is. Oh, ow. She's starting to bite a little bit. But here she is! What a crazy puppy. So, I'm going to try to keep her on my lap as long as I can, but to give my husband a break. He's been dealing with her a lot this week since, like I said, I've been in the bed. I've been in bed just lazing around and sleeping, and which also brings me to my next thing. I want to give a huge big shout out to, I'm sure you all have heard of him, Dancing Geek, from the Dancing Geek podcast. I have been doing a Dancing Geek marathon, and oh my gosh, that guy can talk. He's kept me entertained while I've been in bed, because, you know, you can only watch so much television, but his podcast, I can sit and listen to and read a book a little bit, or do a little bit of knitting while I'm listening to him or watch him, and I've really started enjoying them. I've gone from the very first episode, and I think I'm about to start episode 10. So if you've seen his podcast, you know that's a lot of watching, because I think his shortest podcast was an hour. Ow, hold on. I may not be able to keep holding her for too much longer because she's getting a little mouthy. But okay guys, I will be right back. I gotta get rid of this. So say bye to honey. Bye honey. We're back. Sorry you all. That was not gonna work. Usually she's perfectly content and happy to just lay on your lap and take a nap. Obviously, since I was busy doing this while trying to hold her, she decided she wanted to play, so I had to pass her back off to my husband. And he'll keep her entertained for a little bit. So, where was I? Yes, Dancing Geek. His podcast, he seems like just a wonderful, wonderful person, you all. Very genuine, and I've truly enjoyed his podcast. I even sent him a little message, and just saying how much I enjoy it, and thank you for making such a wonderful podcast. I think his is one to aspire to, honestly. I don't even know if I would be able to, but you know, that's the type of podcast I would aspire to. So if you have not checked him out, do. It's a wonderful podcast. Just be forewarned, his podcasts are very long, but they don't seem like it. He just is able to talk and talk and talk and talk, and you don't realize, oh my gosh, 2 hours has gone by, or 3 hours. So he has really helped get me through this past week while I've been stuck in bed. So, enough of that. Like I said, in the first week, I had so much done. I actually ended up spinning, I almost want to say something around 12 or 16 ounces of fiber. That's a lot, you all, in 1 week's time. So we'll go. Actually, no, we will not get started with that because I have a special feature that I'm going to show you today. And so we will save the spinning towards the end. We will start on knitting. And you all, if you remember from the last podcast, I was talking about my socks, my vanilla socks, and I have a hoe! Of course, the heel's not done yet, but as I said in the last podcast, I'm okay with that right now. If I can just get the socks knit up, a large majority of the socks finished, by the end of January, I will be very happy. And actually, I think now I'm going to wait on doing the heel because Laura from the Knit Girls is going to be coming out with an modification to the Afterthought heel where she inserts some short rows, and that's supposed to help eliminate the issue of having holes on the corners here. So I think I'm going to wait to do the heels on these for that modification to come out. And I have gotten this much of the second sock. So I'm doing pretty good. I'm really pleased with the progress that I've made. I really am. And of course, this is on, if you didn't watch the last podcast, this is on Fiber Nymph Dye Works. It is in her bedazzled base, which is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. And it is in the Merry and Bright colorway. Sorry for shaking y'all. Sometimes that happens. It's a little condition that I have, and I can't avoid it. So I'm sorry if it annoys you, but I'll try to curb it as much as I can when I'm showing you all projects or labels. So that's going along really well. I've been working on that while I've been watching Dancing Geek. And, because it's really good, just mindless knitting, which this past week I haven't been able to think about much. I mean, my head has just been in a haze. I have not touched at all my vacation pie shawl, so I'm not even going to pull that out for you all. It has not changed one bit. I have not picked it up. I set it down after the podcast, and it's sat there since the last podcast. In fact, in the exact same spot that I sat it down in. But I have also made some progress. I was hoping to have this done for you guys by this podcast, but I didn't get it done. I'm sorry. But for sure it will be done for the next podcast. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. But I have the Gelato Giraffe from Kay Jones on Ravelry. She also has the Bakery Bears podcast, which is also a wonderful podcast. I am trying desperately to watch their most recent episode, number 17. But for some reason, every time I pull it up, my internet wants to crash, or it's just issues, y'all. So, of course, I have the... okay. Sorry. I have... Oh my god, this is a lot of tails, you guys. I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but I don't know of one. But I got the legs and the arms and the tail, just like last time. Those are all the same. And I got the itty bitty ears. They're so cute. They are really cute. So I got the ears, and I got the little muzzle mouth deal thingamajig. And I have proceeded to start working on the body and head. So, and this is in, I'll get the label for you. It's in No Makers. And it is 100% superwash merino. Oh, drop label. In the Aurora No Malice colorway. I'll show you it in the cake. It is a beautiful, very variegated colors of teals and purples and wines and pinks and whites and greens and you name it, it's in here. It's beautiful though. I love how it's knitting up. There is absolutely no pooling at all. I mean, not even a bit. So that's going wonderfully. And serves me right for leaving my water open on the floor. I don't even know how it happened, but it just completely tipped over and got all over. Luckily, none of my fiber, oh my gosh, because I have my fiber sitting right next to it right here in my reach. Close call. Hold on. So I have a towel soaking up the water that did spill. Actually, I'm going to close it. I don't want that happening again. Crocheting. I did finish the scarf for my daughter, but I cannot get it right now and show you because my daughter is currently wearing it and she would not give it up. So I will definitely post some photos of it in the show notes to show you all. I made it like an infinity scarf. I got so tired of just working on it, so I was like, you know what, it's long enough, it works. I can wrap it around my neck twice, so I know she'll be able to wear it for some time. She loves it, absolutely loves it. If she's up and about, she wants to wear it. So it's definitely getting wonderful use. She's very happy, and she's told me now that she wants me to make her a sweater. I've never made a sweater, y'all. And she wants a purple one. So we will see how that goes. Obviously it won't get done for her this winter, but maybe next winter. Because I'm a slow knitter too. Slow crocheter, slow knitter. I'm just slow, y'all. Hold on. So we'll see how that goes. I'm currently looking for a pattern that will be fairly easy. Hold on. I'm trying to keep from getting a crazy coughing attack during this. So I'm currently looking for a pattern for her. I want something very easy, and also that would be kind of a quick knit. I'm thinking worsted weight. I'm not too big on bulky. But I think worsted weight will be really good. Maybe just use some Cascade 220 and, you know, keep it low price and but still washable and feel soft and comfortable enough. So I'm sorry I can't show you all the crocheting that I have. I have, though, started working on a new, or not new, but I've picked up a work in progress. And it is a doily. I recently, last year, I got really into working on doilies. Because some of them are just breathtaking. And my goal is to do a whole bunch of them and then put them on like some linen or something and put them up on my wall as inspiration and decoration and, you know, in my craft room. So I've actually finished some. I need to get them up on my Ravelry page. I really do. I haven't even blocked them. I have about 6 of them so far. But I am working on this one. And I'm not using normal, like, crochet thread. But I found this. It's really pretty. It is mercerized cotton. It's Katia. And it's really, really pretty. It looks like, I'm trying not to drop everything. It looks like that in the ball. And I'll actually use 2 of these. I have a second one as well. So it looks like a desert sunset. That's what it reminds me of. Like an Arizona sunset. And I am making it's called the Extravaganza doily. I saw this on Ravelry. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. It is absolutely gorgeous and I want it. But it's not a Ravelry download. You have to get this book. It's called Stella Beauty's 5 Crochet Doilies. Designs by Julie Haberberger. I'm really sorry that I'm probably totally butchering that name. I'm very sorry. But here is what the doily will look like. Isn't that beautiful, y'all? But when I started, before I started working on it, I did not realize how much single crochet there is. There's a lot. There is a lot. So it seems like it's just taking forever, and I'm going to try to show you what I have done so far. I'm about 3/4 of the way through, so if I could just get this done, it shouldn't take me, if I could just sit down and seriously work on it, it shouldn't take me too long. It's just hard to, because working with this type of, this small of gauge, or whatever you want to call it, it's really difficult. It gets tiring on the hands. Plus, I'm a tight crocheter, and you know, this is size 10 thread, basically, or the equivalent of, so it's very fine. And I'm using a size number 7 crochet hook. Let me pull this out. I'm going to pull some extra string so I don't unravel the work that I have. And I'm going to show this the best that I can. I really do need to get pictures up. And I'll try the best I can to take a picture of it for you all. But there it is, what I have so far. And I love the natural striping that it's making on this as well. It's really pretty. So I have... so that's what I have so far. I've picked that up since I finished the other crochet project I was working on. And I did not finish the whole skein. I was just beyond done working on it. I just needed to stop. I wasn't enjoying it. I was like, this is such a chore. I'm done. So I just finished, and I stitched it one end to the other end, and voila, I had an infinity scarf for my daughter. So that's, hold on. So that's the infinity scarf. That's the new crochet project that I'm working on. Sorry. Now, I have some new stash. This does not happen very often. Usually just once a month for my Into the World Club fiber, which hopefully that comes out soon. I'm really looking forward to seeing what it is this month. But a lady was destashing on Ravelry some extra fine merino. It's just undyed, and it's 8 ounces, and it is just the softest fiber I have ever felt, you guys. I mean, and I've felt some soft stuff, but this is just gorgeous. I mean, oh, it's just absolutely wonderful. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't know if I'm going to dye it and then spin it, or if I'm going to spin it and then dye it, or just leave it undyed. I do have 8 ounces worth. And so I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I know whatever it is, it's definitely going to be something that's just right up here on me, because that's wonderful. That is truly wonderful. I wish there was like a feel cam, because you guys would like just be, sometimes I just gotta sit here and pet it. It's just wonderful. So, hold on. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm really trying. So just bear with me. That is the only stash that I have acquired. I'm looking around, make sure that I didn't forget something. But no, that is it. And on to spinning, guys. Like I said, we're going to have a special segment today. But that's going to be in just a few minutes. I'm going to work up to it. But the first thing that I wanted to show you, last time I podcasted, I had my my Wensleydale Shetland fleece that was spinning up, and ta-da! It's plied, you guys. And I got, it's 90 grams, so it's a little on the small side, just a little bit, but that's okay. It's 145 yards, and it's roughly, I would say, a sport weight. It's not as fine as a fingering, and it's not as thick as a DK. But let's see if we can get it focused. Yeah. So, it's really, really nice. It's not, I wouldn't say it's next to skin, at least not on your neck friendly. On your arms or something it would be. So I'm thinking of dyeing this, possibly, and making a hat. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Let me know what you all think I should do. Should I just knit it as is, or should I dye it, have some fun with it, because I have plenty more, and make a hat out of it. Let me know. Also, I said that after I finished that, I would be working on that gorgeous PFL and silk fiber. Ta-da! I got 8 ounces, and this is the craziest yardage, you guys. 599 yards. I couldn't even round up to 600, you guys. It is legitimately 599 yards. I've never had that happen before. So when I look for a pattern, typically I round down. So I'll look for a pattern that uses a maximum of 595 yards. So that I'm not playing yarn chicken with my hand spun, that I can't go out and buy some extra. So, and then also it gives me a little sample. I like to keep, this was just a little bit of extra that it wasn't even worth plying. But I like to keep little mini skeins of all my hand spun. So, so yeah. Hold on. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. I love sunflowers, can you tell? They're just so happy. I mean, they just make me smile. But I fractal spun these. And since I had two 4-ounce braids, what I did, I spun one 4-ounce braid just as was. I didn't split it. I didn't do anything to it. I just spun straight from the braid. The second braid I split multiple times. I think I split it. How many times did I split that? I want to say I split it 6 times. Yeah, 6 times. So what happens when you do that, and I'll show you guys this on a special feature video, but not today. I got a different one. Because I've been a spinning queen these 2 weeks, I'm telling you. I've been going crazy. So what it does is that you'll have bits of solid, and then you'll have bits of barber pole that work into solid again. So what it does, when you actually knit it up, you'll have a solid striping that'll kind of work into a mix, and then you'll have another solid striping section, and then you'll have a mix. So it kind of makes a gradual striping effect. It's really pretty. I have not picked a pattern out of this yet. I do know that I want it to be a shawl of some sort, a big, squishy, nice, pretty shawl. You all will learn I love shawls. because it's really soft. It's squishy. It is a 2-ply, so having some lace in there will do it some good. Because a 2-ply naturally wants to come away from itself. Ah! While a 3-ply is better for things like cables or plain stockinette or things of that nature, because it wants to go next to itself. So cables, it really makes those cables pop. While if you did a cable in a 2-ply, it would just kind of be flat and just, yeah, there's a cable, okay, whatever. But it won't really show. So that is that. What I have been working on since then is oh, I'm so sorry guys, I seem to have lost my bag that was holding it. It's Into the World. It's a club fiberway. It's a fiberway. Oh my goodness. It's a club colorway. I believe it was October's, and it's called On the Rocks, and it's a like a sky blue, green, and yellow, and this is like super fine, y'all. Look at that. Hopefully that focuses. Can you see that? I'm not sure if I'm gonna, I definitely want to try to keep the colors together, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna end ply it or Navajo ply it to keep the colors together as best to my ability, or if I'm going to spin it all as one continuous single and then ply it with something else, like silk or something along those lines. This is a superwash merino silk base. Here it is in fiber form. This is one of the numerous. I took the braid and I just split it as many times as I could, and then I'm just spinning straight from them, from the little bumps that I made. So it's really soft. I love this base that she offers. It's probably my favorite one so far, although that BFL was rather nice to work with too. But I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with that yet. And this is probably going to be a little bit of a slower spinning process. I don't know though. I try not to get other projects onto the wheel at the same time, just because then it becomes too much, and I don't want my spinning to become an issue like my knitting is. So I may be spinning on this for a little while because it is so fine, but we'll see. We'll see at the next podcast where I'm at. So I've been talking about this whole podcast about a special feature video, and this is what the feature is going to be on. This is a single ply. It's spun in Falkland. I got 490 yards out of 4 ounces. So it is really a pretty consistent sport weight. I would say sport weight. Maybe like a sport between a heavy fingering. It's like right in there. But the little video that I've been talking about is going to show you all how to spin and finish a fold single skein. So I will insert that right here. Okay everyone, this is going to be our first featured spinning video clip. And I'm going to show you how I made that lovely fold single skein. I had a little bit of fiber left over that just would not fit on my bobbin, and it's actually just the perfect amount to show you all how I went about the process. I don't even think there's even an ounce here. So it's a really good amount. Now, the first thing I want to tell you is, I'm going to scoot back my wheel for just a moment, is that for all you wheel spinners out there, I suggest that when you're not using your wheel, you keep your drive band and your brake band very loose. You can see here the spring is just kind of hanging there. And this will help lengthen the life of both of these. Whether you're using hemp or the polycord, or if you use cotton, it will extend the life of it, because when you're not using it and it's just sitting there, it's staying stretched. And when something stays stretched for long periods of time, eventually it loses that stretch. And once it loses it, you can't get it back. So, so I always keep it off when I'm not using it. So I'm going to go ahead and set up, hold on, I'm going to scoop my seat back just a little bit. Okay, put that back. I'm going to go ahead and set my wheel up. And like I said, this is an Ashford Kiwi that I have. It is a Scotch tension wheel. So, which means that the drive band and the brake band are kept separate. So when I adjust something, I can just adjust my tension, or I can just adjust my drive band separately. And this here, I have a leader, and all it is just some scrap wool yarn. You can use. I also have some leaders that are cotton as well. You could just use just about anything you want. All this is just to get your yarn started. And all I've done is I cut a good length of it, folded it in half, and tied the two ends together. And then I wrapped it around my bobbin and put the end through the loop and tightened it. And so now I have a good strong leader. And I like to keep mine towards the front so that I work from the front to the back and back and forth like this. Some people like to keep theirs, start theirs in the middle or in the back. That is a personal preference for everybody. There is no right or wrong way to do it. Just if you do it, you know, figure out what way you're going to start and keep up with that. I'm going to take my orifice hook and I'm going to grab my leader and pull it through. I like a good long leader, but that's just me. I'm going to scoot this back just a little bit more. Okay. But how long or short you have it, again, is a personal preference. I like a longer one. I like to get my treadling started and in the groove before it actually meets my yarn. If you have it much shorter up here, you can still have it short, but it's going to be, the twist is going to hit your fiber much quicker, and so you may not have hit the adjustment that you want. Now, I'm going to assume that you already know how to treadle your wheel. Before I start spinning also, I like to take my leader and just test the tension. I've kind of figured out where my sweet spot is. on this wheel. Everybody's is going to be different. But once you find it, remember it, because it will be much easier for you to get started on your spinning. And I pretty much got it. I like where it's at. I might change it once I actually start spinning, but I think I like where that's at. I'm sorry about the coughing, y'all. I am getting over a cold right now. And I always end up with a cough that lingers for weeks on end after that point. So if I cough during this, I'm very sorry. I will try my best. Okay. So, I'm going to, I like to, sorry, I'm holding it up here where y'all can't see. I'm going to pre-draft just a little bit, just to get it started. I like to draft while I spin. Some people like to pre-draft all their fiber. I know y'all are going to get tired of hearing this, but again, that's a personal preference. There is no right or wrong way to do it. The only thing that matters with spinning is that you're doing it right if you come out with a result that you like and it's usable yarn. That's it. How you get there is totally up to you. I'm going to show you my method of doing it. You may find something else that works better for you. I'll try showing you a few of the different drafting techniques, but some of them I'm not so good with, because I found the one that I like. Okay. So I'm going to take my leader and run the fiber through it, and I'm going to fold it in half and bring the end back to my fiber. So that's why I pre-drafted just a little bit. It was I'd say about 3 inches worth that I pre-drafted, just so that I'm not trying to run through a whole chunk of fiber through the leader and try to spin off of that. This gets my start. So also, you're going to want to make sure that your spinning always stays the same direction. So most people do their singles in an S spin, so that's clockwise. And then when they go to ply, they do it in the Z spin, which is counterclockwise. And that's pretty much the standard. If you want to be different and unique, you can of course do it the opposite direction. But you always want to make sure your plying is in the opposite direction of your spun singles. Just remember what direction you spun your singles. Because if you go to ply and you spin it in the same direction, you're just going to keep spinning that single and you're not actually going to ply your yarn. But today we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to do, we're just doing a singles yarn. So I'm going to spin in the S direction, which is clockwise. So I'm going to get my wheel started. And for singles, you're not going to treadle very quickly. And this is how I do it. It's called inchworming. As you can see, I'm keeping my right hand steady, and it's not really doing anything except just holding the fiber. I'm not gripping the fiber or anything like that. I'm just kind of holding it very loosely and comfortably just to keep control of it. All the work is being done in my left hand, which is my drafting hand. Some people may want to draft with their right hand and hold the fiber with their left hand. Again, that's up to you. You got to experiment and to figure out what is most comfortable for you when you're spinning. Um, Spinning is very much a personal experience. So I definitely suggest for any beginners to experiment with all different kinds of techniques and figure out what works best for you and what you're most comfortable with. Um, I'm so I'm just gonna draft, and I'm not treadling very quickly. Um, if you treadle real rapidly, your hands physically cannot keep up with it. Um, because you have to figure that every treadle that you do, your bobbin may be spinning 3 or 4 times that amount. Um, and also, you want for your break tension, you don't want it gripping and taking the yarn away from you, but at the same time, you want it to be able to just kind of gently take a hold of it and send it in itself. And I've learned my sweet spot pretty well, and now I pretty much know exactly where I want it. I don't have to do too many tweaks. Sometimes I do, depending on where on the fineness of yarn that I'm spinning. If I'm spinning a very fine lace weight, I crank the tension down quite a bit because I want that twist to really get into that yarn, and also I've kind of noticed that when I work on it, it wants to steal the fiber from me too quickly. And so then I kind of get a death grip to try to keep it from taking it away. You don't want that either. I'm holding this very loosely, and the only thing that I'm doing is I'm preventing the twist from entering my fiber content. That's the only thing that these 2 fingers are doing. Because if I let go, the twist enters the fiber, and then it's going to become more difficult to draft. You can draft in this way, and in fact there is a technique. I'll show you. It's called, I'm not very good at it, but it is called long draw, and again, I'm not very good at that. I definitely feel uncomfortable with it. There's lots of people who do it, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just personally feel really uncomfortable. I like to feel like I have more control of my spinning, and this is how I feel that I have more control. But long draw basically means you're going to remove this hand, and you're going to pull back on the fiber and let the twist come into your fiber, and you're going to control how much fiber is released, how thick or thin your yarn is, by how much you draft. I don't have enough control with that. Not me personally. So, I got a little extra, it's splitting right here. So when that happens, I like to just kind of place it back on there and draft some more. Oh, okay, let me get this back. Okay, so a singles yarn, you are going to want to have some twist in it. If you can see how it kind of makes some pigtails, but it doesn't make them so rapidly that it's like, I'll try to get some more, I'll try to cause some extra, okay. As you can see here, hopefully you can see, if I release that, you see how quickly it pigtails on itself, that is going to be overplied for a single. If your plan is to ply the yarn, that is a perfect amount of twist. What you want in reality for a singles yarn is, yes, you want it to ply back on itself. In fact, that's a little too loose. Let me add a little bit more. But you see how much slower it comes back? That is what you want for a singles. Because if it comes back to, if it pigtails too quickly, then you're going to end up with a bunch of coiled yarn when you take it off the bobbin and all is said and done. So you want to have less twist for a single because you're not going to relieve some of that twist in the plying process. And so I'm just going to spin along, and let's say I release too much fiber like that. You see the difference? Let's say it just got away from me and I couldn't stop it. What you're going to do is you're going to pinch a little bit farther ahead of that to stop that twist. And you're going to release it. And you're going to come back and you're going to draft it out some more. So when you go back to spin it again, you've lost that clump. There are yarns that people, you purposely want to have that. That's not my taste. I like a very consistent, even yarn, but that's my taste. Here's another example. You got that little extra fiber. You can either pull it out or you can treadle and just kind of run your finger and it'll kind of fix it. So I'm going to keep on spinning and drafting, and you want to kind of check on occasion how much twist you're allowing in there. Yeah, see, that is perfect. You see, it's coiling back just a little bit because when you give it its bath, it's going to relieve some of that twist. So you want to have some extra coiling, and that's about perfect. That's the amount that you want. I don't know, hopefully you can see it well enough. But you see it's pigtailing back on itself just a little bit, but not drastically. And that's what you want for a singles. I got a little extra fiber that was trying to split apart. And so you're going to keep spinning, and again, occasionally check your twist. I'm so sorry, guys. And you're going to spin some more. I'm going to close my blinds because the sun decided to peek through just now and cause a horrible glare. Hopefully that's better. It looks like it's better. And actually, let me go ahead and close the drapes. You all should be able to see the fiber a little bit better. So I'm going to just keep on treadling. And again, I'm doing maybe, 2 treadles to each draft. It's not very much. And so you do, for singles, you do want to go much slower. And here's another clump, and it's pretty far down the line. Like, it's fine up here for me, and here it's fine, but right here you can see you got a little extra knob there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to treadle slowly, and I'm going to kind of twist that with my finger, and it disappears. Kind of squashes that fiber down. And the twist that I do it in the same direction that I'm spinning. So I'm spinning clockwise right now, so I'm going to twist my fingers clockwise. And that adds just a little bit of extra twist right in that spot. Just enough so that it will come down on itself. If you let it go, it will not add extra twist right there. I have noticed that a lot of the twist goes in right in this space right here, is where most of the twist goes when you're treadling. There is some that enters throughout the rest, but a majority of it is added right here. That's what I've noticed anyway. So your twist, that's when your amount of twist, that's when you want to get it entered in to your yarn, is at that point. Oh, I got another slub. So I'm going to treadle and twist my fingers, and it's back to being even. Also, something else you want to do is you want to make sure that you move your fiber. I'll move my wheel. You move your fiber. You see how it's starting to load up right here? I just moved it to the next hook so that it will start loading into the next section. You don't want to load up one section too much at one time. You want to try and keep your bobbin fairly even. Also, you want to make sure that you go to the next hook. You don't want to jump up to there and start spinning. You want to really try to have it be on it, just the next hook, and you start spinning again. And as you can see, I'm just, the amount that I'm spinning is not very much. You can see how on my knees, how slowly I'm treadling. It's not very quick. It's not, spinning isn't supposed to be a race. It's supposed to be something that's relaxing and enjoyable. I mean, yeah, you can, crank it away, but to me, I want my spinning to be enjoyable. I've actually been known at times, especially if it's, if I'm spinning later at night, I'll actually start to kind of doze. And that's how relaxed I become when I'm spinning. It's actually quite nice. But definitely when I hit that point, I gotta stop. Because it's just, I've hit my max at that point. And also, you don't want to sit at your spinning wheel for too long of a period. When you're first starting, it's suggested that you don't sit down for longer than about 10 minutes. You want to build up the time that you're spinning, that you're sitting and spinning at your wheel at one time, because you don't want to form any injuries. You can get strains right here, which actually I started getting when I first started spinning, and then somebody showed me something that I was doing, and I'm actually kind of doing it now, which I need to work on again, obviously. When you're spinning, you want to try to keep a straight line. So when you're spinning, let's pretend that the fiber's coming through right here. You want to try to keep a straight, relaxed curve to your thumb and the rest of your hand and your wrist. What I sometimes tend to do, and a lot of spinners do, and it's not necessarily that I'm gripping the yarn like this. It's still relaxed at this point, but you notice a difference? This is not what you want to see when you're spinning. This right here will cause a lot of pain, not only through here, but throughout here and down your arm. Because it puts a lot of strain, and you can see right here, it's still relaxed right there. It's just the angle that I'm putting my hand. So that is not what you want. You want to make sure that you're conscious of having your thumb knuckle up and level with the rest of your hand and your wrist. That is what, and I discovered it when I was working on a lace that I was spinning. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't sit down for longer than 5 minutes. I'm so sorry, guys. Without getting, it would hurt so bad. I'd have to stop and stretch and, but yeah, you want, and another spinner pointed it out to me. She said, it's the way that you're spinning. She said, you want to relax your thumb. And and I didn't even realize it. And I was curving my thumb, and as soon as I released the pressure right there and became in a more relaxed position, the pain went away. It immediately went away. And I haven't had the amount of pain since then. Now I've fallen into another issue with my knees, but that's because I don't have a proper chair to sit in. Because I'm 6 feet tall, and so my knees sit higher than my hips, which is causing a little bit of strain on my knees and lower back. But that's another issue, and I'm currently working on trying to solve that. But when you first start spinning, like I said, you want to first start out at about 5-10 minutes, wherever you're comfortable, and then get up, take a break, get a drink of water, walk around your house, do a lap around your house, and then go back and sit down and do it again. And then, you know, after about a week or so, maybe sit down for about 15 minutes and do the same thing. But you never want to sit down at your wheel for longer than about 30 minutes of spinning at once. Hold on. Had to get a drink, sorry. Because you can cause a lot of health issues. You can, you know, cause swelling in your legs from not, lack of circulation. If you have those problems, you need to get up and move a little bit. You can get back issues and hip issues and strain in your hand. You'll last much longer as a spinner, and you'll be much more comfortable as a spinner if you take breaks. Now, they don't have to be really long breaks. What I do, I'll set a timer for 30 minutes, and I usually have it strapped right here on my wheel if I'm out and about, and if I'm just at home, then it just is sitting next to me or something. But sit down for 30 minutes, spin, get up, like I said, get a drink, um, walk a couple laps around your home, you know, take your dog for a walk or whatever it is. Just take a break for a moment and then come back and sit down and do some more spinning. So, we're spinning along and your fiber breaks. Don't panic. It's okay. You have two options. You can either A, untwist it just a little bit farther up from where you were. Put the fiber back on. Pinch it. Add just a little bit of extra twist just at the first join and keep spinning. Or what you could do is, I gotta pull some out. Okay. This only works for wool. Superwash I found it doesn't work so well for because the scales of the fiber have been removed. And that's what makes it superwash. Silk it will not work for. Man-made fibers like bamboo and tencel and soy silk, things of that nature will not work. You'll have to use that first technique, but for real wool or alpaca, this does work. And what you're going to do is you're going to kind of just grip it on there, and you see how the fibers are gripping to themselves? And you keep on spinning. They'll kind of, they want to connect with each other in wool. And you keep on spinning. And so I'm going to finish this little bit of fiber because I can see my battery is about to run out. And I've shown you what I need to for this, and I will meet you back. So guys, I just finished spinning up that little bit of fiber that I had left over. And normally you would want this to rest for overnight. Because you just need to let your fiber take a break. We all need breaks, right? So all I'm going to do, I got a nitty knotty here. If you're a spinner, you have to have one of these. Nitty knotty, you can make yourself or you can buy them. I bought this one because I'm not that crafty or handy or whatever you want to call it. So I bought mine. This is just a mini one. I have a larger one for larger skeins, but I wanted a smaller one as well for things like this where I just have a little bit of extra fiber, and so I don't want to just make a mini skein. I'm going to try, I'm going to zoom it out some. There we go. I'm going to try to show you how to wind on an nitty knotty. So you're going to take your fiber and you're going to, oh boy, one bad thing with singles is that it likes to come apart on you. So I'm going to retwist this just a little bit because it has just unspun itself. That's another reason why you should let your fiber rest overnight. It will kind of help set that twist just a little bit. But again, this is just for demo purposes. And also, I mean, I'm thinking of making something small with this, but it's not sure yet. I gotta think about it. But, sorry again, guys. But I also am planning on recording my second episode tomorrow. And so I want to have this ready for you guys. So I'm going to just grip it with my hand in the center. And since this is a small nitty-knotty, I'm going to just kind of hold it with my fingers. And you're going to start by going up through over the top. Let's see, let me get the angle. Down the side, up to the top again, and down, and back up to your start point. So let me show you that again. You're going to go down, up, down, and up. And once you kind of learn the rhythm, you can get going real quickly, but I'm going to just keep going slow for a moment so that you guys can kind of see what is going on here. And you can see how the fiber is lining up. Hopefully. It looks like you all can. So I'm going to just wind straight off of the bobbin onto this nitty-knotty. And I'm not pulling the fiber. I'm just keeping it taut and just letting it run through my fingers. You don't want it super, super tight, but you want it a little bit of tension. So I'm going to wind this up. I'm going to speed through this. See, once you get going, once you get the rhythm, you can really go much faster. Of course, this is gonna, because I'm videotaping, it's gonna go bad. I'm gonna do poorly. That figures, right? So, I'm gonna wind this up. Hold on, guys. I normally would cut it here, but there's another bit that I want to show you and save me some editing time. I'm to the end, and I don't have enough to wrap around and come back and tie to the end. So I like to make sure that I have enough to tie. And a singles you can just break. Applied, you cannot break that so easily. So if you apply, you want to cut the yarn. And what I'm going to do, hold on, I'm going to try to do this. Let me see here. Let me get it down. There we go. You can see my lovely trash can that I keep all my scraps in, and yeah, that's real lovely, but whatever. This is how it is, right? You're getting the full experience. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. I got my starting point right here, and I got my ending point here. So I'm just going to tie a normal old knot, just a standard knot. That's all it takes. And I'm gonna pull it just a little bit, but be careful not to pull it too hard, because you will break your yarn. And you do not want to break it, but you want to pull it just a little bit. So that's how it should look finished. As you can notice, nothing is crossing in the center. Nothing is crossing here. Nothing is crossing on any edge. If it is, go back, because you've done something wrong on winding it up. There should be no crosses, like there should be no cross going from here to here. It should all run in a straight line. Sorry, guys. Next thing, next thing you want to do is, I like to use undyed, okay, undyed, keyword, undyed cotton yarn. This is just a really cheap sugars and cream yarn. And I'm going to cut, for this little bit, I'm just going to cut 3 little strands. For this size that I just did, it's about 4 inches. Depending on the size of your skein, you want longer or shorter. But just for this little sample, this will be actually more than plenty. For a full-size skein, I like to put at least 4 ties. For this process, if the yarn is plied, I can get away with just 2 and be perfectly fine. But since this is a singles and we're going to be working with this kind of aggressively, I want to put more ties. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to split. You see, I put my finger through it. I'm going to take that yarn that I just cut, and I'm going to put it up through the center. Okay? And I'm going to wrap it around the back and underneath and pull it back up. And then I'm going to take my other end and I'm going to tie them together. What you've essentially just done is make a figure 8. And I'm just going to tie it loosely. You don't want to do it too tight because some fibers do like to poof up a bit. Like BFLs and Merinos, things like that, and this Falkland does poof up just a little bit. So you want to give it that room to fluff. So as you can see, it's loose on there. You know, it's not tight. I've given it some room. So I'm going to do that on 3 of the sides. Now notice today I'm going to do it on 2 of the sides. Notice how I cut 3 yarns. And I'm saying that I'm going to do this on 2 of the sides. So I'm going to do 2 figure 8s. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry, there was kind of some dead time on, but it is what it is. So again, I got another figure 8, and see how loose that is? That has given it some room. For my last one, I'm not going to do a figure 8, and I'll tell you why. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put it through the entire thing. You see? I'm going to just put it around all of it. And I'm going to tie it. I have learned that I like to have one of these for when I wash my yarn. At any yarn, any weight, whether it's plied, unplied, lace, bulky, it doesn't matter. I like to have one that does not go through as a figure 8. And the reason being is because when I go to wash this, I want one that I can easily pick up the yarn, because if I go to pick this up, you see what it does? It starts to pull on the rest, and when it's wet, it kind of gets a little bit messy. So I like one that I can find and easily grab, and for this fulling process in the singles, it really helps. It kind of gives me a point to hold when I'm working on it. So we're going to go out to my kitchen, and I guess I should have shown you. All I did to pull it off, this Nitty Naughty has a point that has no hook, and this point has a hook. All I did was just slide it off. And I turn it down and watch this. Watch what happens. This is for singles. Woo! That is okay. Don't get scared when you see that happen. And you can see I even have some coils in there. It's okay, you all. Don't be scared. If this doesn't happen, you need to put it back onto your wheel and spin it some more. This is normal. And this is normal for applied as well. For applied, you don't want as much boing. That's kind of fun. Whee! But for singles, that is more than normal. And you'll see after it's been washed how beautifully it will hang. Okay, you all. So, I got my yarn here. I got a pot of hot water. It's not warm, it's hot. And I got a bowl of ice water. Yes, those are ice cubes in there. First thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your skein. Let me find, there we go. Remember what I said about I like that little tag yarn? This is why. I like to put my finger through it, and I typically keep my finger on it. You're going to put your skein in the hot water. You're going to push it down. You're going to get all nice and wet. There we go. I swish it around just a little bit. And then, okay guys, I'm going to freak you out a little bit. Watch this. It's going from hot. I'm going to wring it out just some. I'm not twisting it, I'm just squeezing it right into the ice water. And I'm going to swish it just a little bit. And I know what you all are probably thinking, oh my god, you're going to felt it. Yes, I am. That is the point. Now, I'm not felting it to the point that you're thinking of like, you know, when you normally see felt. For singles, you have to felt it just a little bit, or else the yarn will just completely fall apart. So I'm going to swish it just a little bit, agitate it just some. I'm not going aggressive, I'm just kind of swish, swish. And this is why I like the tag yarn, because then I can just grip it and I'm not pulling on the rest, you know, splitting the yarn in half or anything like that. I'm going to squeeze it and it's going right back into the hot water. I like to have water on a stove just at a low setting so that the water stays hot, because when you put something cold into hot water, it cools it down. You don't want it to cool it down. You want it to stay hot. And I'm going to swish some more. Just really easily. Let's sit there for just a moment. And I'm going to pull it out. Squeeze it and put it back into the ice water. I'm going to do this probably about 4 times or so, 4 or 5 times. And I'll show you, you know, it pulls up nice and neat with that tag yarn. If I try pulling it up with the other yarn, you see how kind of messy that is? Let me get that tag yarn back. And look how neat that pulls up. That's why I like to have one of those on every one of my skeins, especially for this process. I'm going to check it. You know what? I'm dunking it in the hot water one more time. And then that'll be it. Yep. So, just let it rest there for just a moment. Grab my tag. Pull it up. And squeeze. Again, I'm not wringing it. I'm just squeezing it gently to help get some of that excess water out. And then what I'm going to do, look at that, guys. Yes, it is still wet, but you don't have that boing. And when it dries, it'll foof up. These fibers will just kind of poof, but it won't spring back up even after it's dry. That's why I said don't worry. All right. Next up, I'm going to turn the stove off, move that bowl of water. Normally I do this on my kitchen floor. I lay out just a bath towel. But since this is small and just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to just do it on here. I'm going to lay it down. And I'm going to roll it up. And I'm just going to press. Again, I'm not twisting or anything like that. I'm just pressing. For a larger skein, I might walk on it. And all this is doing, this is helping get the excess water out, so it'll be less drying time. And I'm just going to unroll it. And as you can see, it's still hanging nice and pretty. Now, the last step. This is the fun part. I like this part. You got any aggression or stress, or you just like to hit things? I don't know. You're going to whack your yarn. And I'm turning it and whack it. And I turn it and I whack it. What this is doing is this is helping on the relaxing of your yarn. Isn't that fun, guys? It's really fun with a large skein. The first time I did it, my husband was like, "What are you doing? What is that noise?" I'm beating my yarn. It's fun, guys. So, and all that does is that helps set the twist in your yarn. And so we're back. I hope you all enjoyed that little clip and tutorial how to spin a fold single. There is one other thing that I want to mention to you guys. I'm going to be opening up our very first prize thread. And this prize thread is going to be based around this skein right here. This is some of my hand spun. It is a 50% superwash merino, 50% tinsel, lace weight, 2-ply lace weight. And the reason I'm opening up a prize thread about this, no, nobody's gonna win this, okay? So calm down. But I am going to be, I have been trying desperately to figure out the perfect project for this. And I've failed. I cannot decide, you guys. There are hundreds upon hundreds of projects that I love. I can't narrow it down from that. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a prize thread asking you guys to look for a pattern on Ravelry of a shawl or a stole, okay, that I can knit with this. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. I need, it's 608 yards. But I'm going to consider this to be a 605 yard skein, because I do not like playing yarn chicken and I don't want to play it with this. Um, I want to try to use as much of it as possible. So if there's a pattern that is kind of easily modified, I'll prefer that. I want it to have lace patterning in it, but no cables. I don't know how to do cables yet. I have never done them, and I don't want to try them on this. And I want the shawl or stole to be able to be worn around my shoulders and be able to show it off. I prefer not to have a kerchief style. If I have to, I will, but I prefer not to, and I'm not spending more of this. With it being 50% tinsel, it was not the most enjoyable spin because it ripped up my hands. It ripped up my fingers. It didn't like physically cut them or anything, but it made them so tender and sore that I don't want to do it again. I've noticed that with man-made fibers, that happens when I'm spinning. So this is it, you guys. There is no more. Hold on. So sorry, guys. Stick with me, please. I'm almost done. Anyways. So I'm going to open up a prize thread. And whoever's pattern I choose for this yarn, I will gift to you a $5 or under Ravelry pattern of your choice. And I'm going to keep this contest open, all throughout March, or all throughout February, and I will choose by my first podcast in March, I will tell you which one I choose. And I will cast it on my birthday in April. I thought that would be really nice. And like I said, I have searched through hundreds of patterns, and I get so overwhelmed, I can't decide. I mentally cannot decide what to make with this. I see one, and then 10 pages later, I find another one, and I'm like, which one? So I really need your all's help on deciding which one to pick. So, get posting. I will open up the thread as soon as this podcast is up. If you want to see it again, there you go. Hopefully it focuses. So, if you want to see more photos or info on this skein, it's in my hand spun section of my stash. Yeah, get searching and get posting. There's one person who's not allowed to post, and I'm sure she already knows who she is, but if not, I will mention it to her personally. The reason being is because I don't want there to be any form of bias or anything like that. So, plus, she's going to be the one who's going to help me decide which project to knit this web with. So, get posting, guys. And I'll have two threads. One of just the post. You can post as many as you want, but try not to overwhelm me, okay? I don't want to see 20 pages of patterns. That's gonna be like, oh my god, I don't know. Try not to overwhelm me too much, okay? So maybe I should limit it to 2 patterns per person. There we go. That'll be good. 2 patterns per person. If you post and then you find something else, and you've already posted your 2, go back and edit one of your posts, and that's perfectly fine. But the final result will be 2 posts per person. Okay? That means 2 patterns per person. I think that'll be good. That'll limit the amount of decisions I get, hopefully. And yeah, I'm really excited about this because I really want to knit this up. I really do, really do. And so get posting, guys, and I will have a chatter thread as well. Okay? And if you have any other questions or anything like that, feel free to post them in the chatter thread or PM me. That's fine. I usually check Ravelry at least once a day. So, I'll get to you. So anyways, enough about that. Get posting, get searching. And, so that's it for, this week. I hope you all have a wonderful next 2 weeks, and I will see you during our next podcast. Bye!